entitled Hong Kong Success Stories. I'm going to invite the speakers to join me on stage as I say their names. First, our moderator, Ms. Deborah Khan. Morning, Deborah. Mr. Eric Nyok Fa, co-founder of Klook. Mr. Paul Tomes, co-founder and CEO of Passkit. And Mr. Kevin Chan, co-founder of Insight Robotics. I'm now going to pass the floor over to Deborah, who's going to introduce our panelists and moderate the session.
Thank you so much. So some of you may know that I recently left a job I really loved at the Wall Street Journal because I caught the entrepreneur bug really badly, and I decided it was time to go out there and venture on my own. I'd interviewed so many companies that had been huge successes, and I thought, you know what, it's time for me to really try this on my own. Ironically, once you jump on the outside, the phrase that you hear most is, do you know 90% of startups fail? and so from there, I was so happy to know that I was going to moderate a panel called Hong Kong Success Stories. So here we are, and I've asked our panelists today, much like the elevator pitch that we're all so familiar with, to just give us a 1-minute synopsis about what your company does, because I'm not sure everyone is familiar with your companies, and then we'll launch into that discussion about where your luck and maybe some of your challenges have been. So we want to start with you, Kevin.
Sure. Hello. Yes. So my venture is called Klook Travel. We started off in mid of 2014, so it's about 18 months in the running. We're in the travel tech space, so on the customer front, we're basically this one-stop solution for travelers to book everything that goes into the itinerary, except the flights and hotels. So they can find their favorite attractions to local sightseeing tours to local transfers, all at exclusively discounted prices. While on the merchant side, we provide this technology solution to help them manage their business more efficiently. So we upgrade their ticketing system, for example, to mobile pass so that it's become a lot more kind of skip the line and more efficiently run. So right now, we recently closed our Series A of $5 million US dollars, and we've gladly been grown now to the #1 in the space in Asia. Thank you.
Right on time. Thanks, Eric. Okay, Paul.
Firstly, it's a great privilege to be here, and to be called a success is maybe a bit premature for us, but we're certainly we're enjoying the journey so far. This is the biggest audience I've ever had without a band behind me. So in terms of what Passkit is, we are a customer engagement automation platform. We started in 2012. Our clients use Passkit to create really cool, magical, engaging experiences for people that have a smartphone, have a smart device, that are in the real world transacting. We heard about using Alipay to pay for your taxi, to have an experience that's more convenient and less wasteful. We have global clients across all of the world, 24 countries we're currently serving our technology in. We're powering about 15 million devices at the moment and connecting the Internet of Things, which we'll talk a lot more about over the course of this week.
Great, thanks very much. Kevin.
Good morning, I'm Kevin. So Insight Robotics are taking on very, very tough challenge for protecting our planet's resources. So currently we are focusing on reducing wildfire risk for forestry and also reducing risk for threats to farms. By using our robots, we generate and make sense of the data to reduce risk forest fire, particularly in a very large landscape area. So we start 2011, and right now the area we are protecting is around the size of 10 Hong Kong, and it's growing. We believe the size will grow to 100 Hong Kong within the next 18 months. So yeah. Here we are.
So I guess one of the things I'm curious about is turning an idea into action. So Kevin, I mean, that's a pretty ambitious goal to say, oh, I'm through technology, I want to relieve the world, prevent big disasters. At what point, what made you think of this, and at what point could you translate it into a viable business?
So honestly, it's very tough. It's very tough, particularly in the beginning. So, and with an ideas that I think is, for me, inspired by a lot of NGOs when I was kid in Hong Kong. So they're all talking about saving the world, like saving like disaster from China, Southeast Asia, and even other part of the world. So this is how I got inspired. So that's why I want to do something. Is that this is my third startup. So I have 2 other startups that running in Hong Kong and China. So I really want to do something that can go global. That's why we try to find some challenge that are pretty big challenge globally. So that's why we identify forest or agriculture challenge in the beginning.
Okay, great. Paul, what about you? When did your idea translate into a business?
The day Apple announced its wallet application, actually. So we'd been working, and similar to Kevin, had 2 startups before, building cloud infrastructure. And I guess driven by waste. And really, when Apple announced certain technology within all of its smartphones, we saw people really struggling to use it, and that was frustrating for us. Like, there's this really cool technology that's built into smartphones, and yet marketers, businesses were struggling to make the most of that technology, and the Internet of Things were evolving. And so we started playing, and people started using our solution, started using our technology, and that was the moment where we said, hey, this could grow to something. So it was really from the market telling us that they wanted to use our software, wanted to use our solution more and more, that gave us the confidence to go further. And it is tough, but in terms of having the market feedback that there is value, that is providing something that's useful for them in business, that's providing something useful to the consumer at the end of the value chain, that's what kept us going. That's where our idea sparked into something real.
And Eric, they always say it always comes from a personal desire or to fill a void, so to speak. So is that how Klook came about? I mean, were you frustrated, a frustrated traveler who thought this could be more efficient?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, back in my banking days, I felt like, life was 80 hours a week kind of working hours. But I really loved to travel, but then I found that planning my itinerary was the most frustrating part. You spend hours. I have a spreadsheet that, plan a whole itinerary of where I'm going to go, what are the operators I'm going to call. And then gradually I've been sharing that sheet with a lot of friends. And I realized, hey, why not make it a lot easier, but so that people can just book it online, just how you book flights and hotels nowadays. And that's how we just kind of put this idea forward and become a business in itself.
One thing that I've experienced is I'm sitting in Blueprint right now and working at a Blueprint, and the infrastructure for startups, people talk about that a lot in Hong Kong. Well, where is it? Is it where Singapore is? It's not where Silicon Valley is. But what I've noted is the amount of, it kind of grows, it takes on a life of its own. When you put a bunch of startups in the same room, there is a lot of synergy and there's a lot of energy, which leads to progress. So 2 of you are a global startup. You're more focused on Asia, Eric. So my question to you is, has Hong Kong been a help or a hindrance to creating a global business? Do you want to start, Paul?
Sure. God, that's a tough one. I think sometimes hindrance is a good thing because it means you battle. So I was talking to someone before. It feels, certainly the first few years, you'll feel like you're riding up a wave, but as you're crawling that wave, as you're moving through difficult water, that creates strength. It creates energy. Certainly over the course of the last 4 years, there's been an incredible amount of attention now put on startups. At the beginning, it was almost an embarrassment to call yourself an entrepreneur. Coming from previously, I was in investment banking. I said, what are you doing? It's crazy to be there. But then I have found that by connecting with the broader community has given me confidence to feel proud to be an entrepreneur, given me network to connect and think about ideas and socialize different ideas, find like-minded individuals that just give you a little bit of energy, give you a bit of a boost as the wave is about to crash on you. So certainly the amount of change I've seen over the 4 years in Hong Kong has been tremendous. One other thing about Hong Kong that we discovered on this journey is because it's dense and because there's lots of different types of businesses, we've been able to innovate far quicker than if we were in more of a vanilla type of environment. So the diversity that Hong Kong represents has really been great for propelling our business and our product innovations.
What about in terms of talent? I mean, people say, oh, you need a more diverse talent pool. Can you find it here?
I'll be very honest, it is quite challenging. I think it has changed. We've worked in partnership with some great groups for interns, both Hong Kong-based interns and international interns, who have then come into the business with great passion, fresh eyes coming into it, wanting to make a difference. And now we're being seen in Hong Kong as a place where people can excel and make a difference. When we started, the talent was there, but the parents were in the way. And this is a true story that, we wanted to hire, it happened to be a couple of great talented ladies that were wanting to join our startup. And their father said, nope, I haven't put you through education to go and work for some small company, go and work for the big four, go and work for the big banks. But that has changed. So the word entrepreneur and startup has more kudos today. And that's very thankful for all the work for everyone that's done around here and putting success stories on the table. Back in 2012, much, much harder to attract talent.
Okay, so back off tiger parents. That's the lesson of today. Kevin, what about for you? How has Hong Kong helped or hurt in terms of the growth of your business? Actually, it would probably help to give people a perspective to tell us what stage of funding you're in at this point.
Sure. We just closed part of our Series B financing. So we start 2011 and we have angel financing us. So 2 years ago we have our Series A. So we have around 60 people right now. So some of the people in Hong Kong and some based in China and Southeast Asia. So I think today is a very great example for this StartmeupHK event. So I was here a couple of years ago. It's certainly not that crowded. So today is much, I think at least maybe one block less than a couple of years ago. So I think the momentum is building up. So like Paul said, the challenge is here, but I think we are getting there. And I think besides of just hiring, having the momentums of more people in communities is also about accelerating the learning curve, because all startup is about like how fast can you learn, and more people in the sectors, not only startup but the whole business field in Hong Kong. I think we have the advantage that we can learn from different people, different backgrounds, and we can learn very fast. So this is one of the advantage.
What about in terms of attracting investors? I've heard on several occasions people say, oh, well, they told me I should move to Silicon Valley, which I don't personally agree with, but have any of you had that experience?
No, I think being based in Hong Kong, I think at the end of the day, it's really the team. It's the team, the execution that you can show to the investors. And I think Hong Kong is a great global launch pad, especially valid for us as a travel business, right? Hong Kong is the most travel city in the world. So for us starting off here, we show that we can own the Hong Kong market as an inbound destination, and we can scale that to other destinations. And so I didn't see that as a problem of raising in Hong Kong. We raised some money from some individuals in Hong Kong. We raised from China, which was a fund also from the US. And we got some great interest as well from a lot of family funds in Hong Kong. So
what series have you raised? Where are you?
We just did over Series A. Yeah, so I think it's getting there with all the ecosystem that Cocoon is building, Cyberport is building, and that's definitely been helpful.
So what's been the hardest part so far? I mean, and I think it was you, Paul, saying like, how do you judge success? I mean, you're still in fairly early stage. So where are you? And in your mind, are you successful yet? Or where are you going?
No, I think if you say 10 marks, I think we're just one. I mean, Series A is just getting started. I think we still have a long path to go, but I think it's great to have momentum, and money is definitely important to keep things going. So I think we're far from really successful yet.
Paul, do you want to comment?
On success?
At what? Yeah.
I guess success might be personally when I can attract this audience like Elon Musk, which may never happen. That just sitting here feels a beautiful reward personally and for our company. And indeed, hopefully something I can give back to Hong Kong is sharing and helping other entrepreneurs and the ecosystem grow. That's part of personal success. I think for Passkit, we're not successful yet and never will be. And that's the energy that fuels a startup. It's the energy that allows us not to sit still and to continue to move and continue to adopt new technologies and then make that available to our clients. So in a way, success is a good fuel, but don't get too comfortable in that success zone. And that's one of the lessons I guess I learned from corporate days, is to drive growth and to drive value creation. It's having the feeling that you want that success, but actually never being satisfied when you get to that position. So it's a constant energy spin.
So offline to online, like talk to us about what the future is going to look at and where you're going with the company. Because I mean, if we all believe what people say, we're going to transact completely online and there might not be any offline interaction.
Yeah, so I mean, if you've seen the way that online and e-commerce has grown over the last 20 years, I guess, it's been incredible. And the experience, people like to transact and experience online because of the convenience, because of the comfort of being able to sit in your bed or your bathroom and be able to buy things online. But yet 90% of commerce today is, and people are still in the physical world. They still go to shops, they still go to casinos, they still go to hotels, they still travel, they still experience the physical world. And yet that physical world still presents lots of inconvenience. It presents queuing, it presents wasteful transaction media. You don't have that cool experience you have online. So where the world is moving is leveraging the lessons learned online into the offline world. Now, without scaring too many people, if you've seen the movie Minority Report, where you walk into a store, I think in the Minority Report movie, it's the Gap store, automatically you're recognized by your irises, you're delivered useful, relevant information by a virtual sales associate, you walk out the store with whatever you came in for because they understand you. That's where we're moving. Now, it feels invasive because it's different. In the same way the credit card came about and everyone said, no one's going to use a credit card because cash is here to stay. But as you start to use and the behaviors adopt more convenient technologies, more value-created technologies, that's the way the world is moving. Now, we're not at Minority Report, we're not going to be scanning irises, but you carry a device. Everyone in this phone is probably carrying a device that allows you to have an engagement with the physical world in the right time, the right place, the right location, the right experience for you personally, rather than relying on relationship managers. It's now moving through into Internet of Things, into devices.
And speaking on the topic of devices, I think Hong Kong is really trying to pitch itself as the place to develop hardware along software. So Kevin, talk us a little bit through that in terms of your development, because you have developed hardware, but yet you have a whole software system out there. So talk to us about how that plays. I mean, do you need to have product behind what you're doing in order to be a success?
I think Hong Kong is very lucky. We're in a very convenient place. So, because when we say we base our startup in Hong Kong, but 1 hour, 2 hours logistic, we can reach the whole Guangdong area with. I think the world reaches hardware resources, both manufacturing, components, and also talents, because we was talking about talents. We need to hire people from Hong Kong, but actually, in fact, it's easily we can find very, very experienced people to how to turn ideas into a real, let's say, the hardware products within the Guangdong area. So I think it's quite convenient. On the software side, I think in Hong Kong we're doing okay, but we also have an advantage that a lot of software engineers really willing to move to Hong Kong, no matter they're from China, they're from US. They are, yes. I think Hong Kong is a very exciting city.
A little too expensive on the rent, though.
Yes, but I think a lot of people doesn't mind to spend at least several years here and to check it out and to see if they want to stay.
But I mean, is that a problem you face? Because it is quite expensive to live in Hong Kong. If you're a starving developer who loves the idea, I mean, where are you going to live and how do you support yourself? Have you been confronted with that?
Well, for us, right, because we're based in Hong Kong, but we also have offices in Shenzhen and Taiwan. And so we have some engineers in China as well as in Hong Kong. And honestly, nowadays, hiring an engineer in China isn't cheap. I mean, they do get some very good pay nowadays with the BATs, Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent. So I think, it's equally, I would say the pay isn't that far off. Maybe to them, the living cost is slightly higher in Hong Kong, but I agree with Kevin, they would like to check out the Hong Kong space. And in terms of salary-wise, as a corporate, as a startup, there isn't that big of difference now.
So you're up to Series A. What's been your biggest challenge so far?
The biggest challenge, I think the biggest setback that we have faced before was definitely not having enough resources. I think as a startup, we've been very careful in managing kind of the expansion phase internally in terms of resources. And I think that we were too conservative at the beginning. When growth picked up, it was kind of hard to keep up with that. So I would definitely say now we're trying to plan ahead a little bit more.
So you mean specifically with human resources?
With human resources, yes.
Because you didn't hire enough people or they weren't available?
Well, both. I think Hong Kong definitely at the beginning when we started did have some challenges in terms of hiring. Now with Cyberport, Garage, and all hosting job fairs, finding like-minded people together, it's gotten much better. So it's definitely both.
Paul, what's been your biggest challenge?
Same actually. It's not necessarily finding talent, or finding people, or people finding Passkit. It's actually finding curiosity. And it's people with curiosity and prepared to be outspoken and not just solve problems, but create problems. And it's changed over the course of the last 5 years. I don't think that's naturally ingrained in education, particularly in Asia at this point in time. It is changing. I'm seeing that change in education systems and talking to universities in the way that they encourage problem solving, being outspoken, prepared to take risk. But that's been the biggest challenge. So that's why I'd love to have 100% Hong Kong staff. We actually have a diverse staff from various backgrounds, which is encouraging that problem-solving approach, which is encouraging people to think of the world from a different angle. And it starts with mindset, which is where I guess that's where we've probably struggled the most. We've got better at finding the right people and helping and supporting the right people, but initially that was very tough.
Kevin.
So I think quite similar to what Paul's facing. So we believe we can find a lot of good people in Hong Kong, but a lot of them is first time for them to work for startups. So the learning curve and to adopt a startup culture, which we change very fast because we learn something very fast and we take on a lot of new challenges. And the team will also grow very fast. We grow from like 3 people in 5 years. Now we have 60 people. So to train people in this pace is not familiar with a lot of people that not used to work in startups. So the learning curve is the challenge.
What about fundraising? Did you feel like there were enough investors out there to talk to, or did you have to go on kind of a mini roadshow to try to attract more investors, or did they come to you right here in Hong Kong?
In fact, I think it would be more challenge for investors to find enough deal flow in Hong Kong rather than startups to find enough money here in Hong Kong, at least at this moment. So, so
too much money to go around and not enough startups? Listen to that.
I won't say that as well. So there are monies, but not saying that all those money is sitting here waiting for startups, because there are a lot of options here in Hong Kong. But I think the challenge is how to pitch it right, because we're not competing internally with other Hong Kong startups. But when raising Series A, Series B, Series C fundings, maybe Angel are, but ABC fundings, we're competing with companies from Shenzhen, Shanghai, Beijing, or other places. They have a much larger ecosystem and domestic markets to better with us. So those are the competitors, but not the one here in Hong Kong. So that would be the challenge. But it's not like there are not enough money here.
Do both of you, can you comment on fundraising aspect?
Yeah, I think ultimately, if you've got a good product with a good financial model, then ventures and capital finds its way to you, whether that's at the right time or whether it takes a little bit longer. Definitely, I think when we first raised, the challenge was educating venture capitalists or investors that being based in Hong Kong, you could still be a global company, and we were at global scale from Hong Kong. We got a lot of questions like, well, are you China? Why don't you be based in Beijing and Shanghai? Or, well, if you're global, why don't you go to San Francisco? So I think to your point, we did actually get people saying, you're in Hong Kong? Why are you in Hong Kong? Now, part of it was tactical, purely I was living here when we started it. Some of it was strategic, the density of businesses here, access to diverse, talent from various backgrounds. That's now played an advantage, but we had to convince and educate people through those advantages for us to easily attract the type of capital and the types of strategic investment relationships that we wanted.
I was always surprised when I was at the Wall Street Journal, when I'd interview companies in Silicon Valley, they didn't know so much about what was going on in Asia. Whereas when you interviewed the Asian companies, they knew under a microscope about every little company over on the other side of the Pacific. So I always thought that was going to be that gap was going to be a real risk for the West, because what's occurring in Asia is going to take people by surprise, and the fact that they're not paying attention in the way that they should, I think is a real shortfall.
I totally agree. Absolutely. I mean, it comes down to the same. We have lots of clients that we do talk to over the phone, and if they're in the US, they send you an email and say, let's meet at 4 p.m. And it's naturally 4 p.m. their time. Whereas, and that's always some crazy hour in the morning for me. Whereas, when we're from Asia or from Hong Kong, and it's always been a practice, and I think I see it across everyone, when we send an email, say, could we catch up? We almost put their time zone first, and that is 9 a.m. Hong Kong time. So our appreciation of the world, because we sit in a diverse space, we have access from here within a 4-hour flight to incredible cultures across Asia, to incredibly different places to do business. Where from the onset of the business, we're thinking, how does this business thrive in different cultures? How does it thrive across different geographies? How does it work across different regulations? If you think of the US alone has 1 regulator, just in Asia there's 19 regulators. So as you think about where content moves, you think about how devices become connected, you automatically have to start thinking, how do I navigate 19 regulators? So I think that gives us strength. Whether it's recognized yet, I don't know, but it certainly gives us strength and opportunity.
Okay, we're almost out of time, but I have to. Since 90% of us fail, I want to end on an optimistic note. So tell me, startups obviously built on dreams and ambition. So let's just go down the road and tell us what is your final ambition? I mean, where do you see your company when you can sit back and say, okay, let them do the work. I can just enjoy what I've built. Do you want to start, Eric?
Yeah, for us, I mean, our vision is to really build this global travel brand out of Asia, really catering for the Asian travelers, because we do believe that Asia is going to be the future, whether in terms of adoption of technology, or even driving the whole global economy. So that is where I think we are aiming to be.
Great. Paul?
I don't think I'll ever sit back, because I have too much energy for that. Where I want Passkit to be, it's not a consumer brand, but it will be Passkit inside, powering devices across the world, connecting the Internet of Things and allowing businesses and consumers to enjoy cool experiences through Passkit powering all of that technology.
Kevin?
So Honestly, I didn't see the ceiling or the really destination yet, but our first goal, particularly for reducing forest fire, because right now forest fire contributing around 30% of global carbon emissions. I think what we can do is to cover over 50% of the forest globally and to reduce that 30% numbers to under 10%. So this is our near-term goal in the next 5 years.
Great. Well, thank you very much to our panelists. I enjoyed and fully leaving this panel optimistic. Thank you so much for sharing your...
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Deborah and our panelists, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much once again.
I've got to take some photos.
Let me ask, who was here at 9 o'clock this morning?